Welcome to Bart Baggett Reveals. In today's show, we're talking to Suzanne Whang, who has made me laugh already to the point I'm going to cry. And now I want to talk about who you are. Now, you talked about your career and comedy and your thoughts, but I want to take a look inside your brain and find out if there's anything that we can learn from you.
Okay.
Is that all right?
Sure. Through my handwriting.
From your handwriting. Now, your handwriting reveals actually a fairly normal person, which may surprise you.
That's shocking.
Really, because you don't act normal, and you're way funnier than most people. I love the word funnier. Is that even a word?
Yes.
Yes. Your big signature, bold, a little bit arrogant.
True.
Ego in a very good way. I find that most successful people have a very healthy ego. They don't take any crap. They've got strong boundaries.
And you can tell that from the size of my signature?
The size of your signature. In fact, I actually tell people, make your handwriting bigger when your signatures. So it's as if you've read the books, but you haven't read the books.
I have
you
not,
just naturally
I
have
promise.
A good sense of self. The cursive S is called fluidity of thinking, which is a trait that's common among radio hosts and professional speakers.
Really?
What this is, it's a fluidity of thought so that you can take one concept, go to this concept, go back to this concept, and then wrap it up with this concept.
So if my S looked like a weird, box, then that would mean I didn't have fluidity.
It would mean that you get stuck, and then you freeze, and then you have to reset yourself. Whereas your mind is fluid. It's typical of a writer. Now, I don't know that you've written anything. Have you written any books?
Yes, I have.
Really?
Yes.
Tell me. I didn't even know.
I published a book called Suzanne Whang's Guide to Happy Home Buying in conjunction with the show House Hunters.
Wow.
So it was incorporating I snuck some principles of the quantum physics law of attraction into how to manifest the home of your dreams.
Right.
And there's also some good practical information in there. And now I'm writing my second book, which is tentatively titled Don't Judge a Gook by Her Cover.
Back to the Asian theme. Now, the fluidity of thinking, if I didn't know you, I'd say you should pursue a career in writing or public speaking, which obviously you have.
That's what I'm doing.
Which is a sign of intelligence. Now, your M's reveal your intelligence, which is fast thinking, super analytical, maybe even hypercritical, but if anything, impatient with slow people.
That is the most true thing you've said so far.
Yeah,
That's
yeah. I mean, it's a fast mind. Usually doesn't connect with a slow procedural mind. Have you ever dated somebody and you just thought they were retarded because they can't keep up with you?
Most people.
Yeah, welcome to my world.
Wait, how can you tell that from the M? What does that mean?
The pointiness. Yeah, everything is very pointy. Pointy M's
Pointy.
means fast, angular. It means fast thinking.
Oh.
That's what it means. Now, you're also aggressive. The Y's reveal sex drive and physical drive, and you have both a big physical drive, which is a big sex drive, a lot of energy. I don't know if you get up early and stay up late, but I would say energetically you have a lot of robust energy. But this one is aggressiveness. And now you don't look like you would kick my butt, but you seem
I will.
Are you
In
aggressive?
fact, I'll do that right now.
Well, please, let's move this out and put the ring in, because that sounds fun. Aggressiveness. Now,
Yes.
that's not a very feminine trait.
No, it is not. And it's very interesting that you would say that, because there was a good chunk of my young adult life where I felt like there was this big mistake, that I was this macho, vulgar truck driver guy stuck in this little petite Asian female body, and there was a big mistake. And I think that it started actually when I was really little, maybe not consciously, maybe subconsciously, but looking around and going, so let me get this straight. So boys get to do whatever they want, and girls are just stupid and silly. And I thought, no, I choose boys. And I think I've always been very male energy, and then I would nurture those traits and only have guy friends. And it wasn't until maybe 5 or 10 years ago that I started to realize that I was cutting myself off of half of my power. There's a lot of power. Yes, exactly.
Okay.
But definitely, I think it takes a certain amount of aggression to be successful in the entertainment industry and to be a stand-up comedian.
Is it aggression or is it persistence?
I think persistence is an offshoot of aggression.
Really?
Yeah.
Because aggressive and assertiveness is like a wonderful thing. People love assertive people. Aggressive tends to be like violent or pushy or snide or even physically violent.
Yeah, I'm not a violent person physically, but pushy, yes. And that's partially because the things that I'm passionate about, like passion has a certain force behind it.
Sure.
Passion is a push. And if that's what pushiness means, then anything that I really care about, then yes, I will come across as pushy. People have called me intimidating or bossy or pushy, and I don't take those as insults.
Got it. Well, interesting about how you take criticism. there is a part of the handwriting which reveals whether you're very sensitive to criticism, you live your life for approval, or you just frankly don't give a darn about the rest of the world. You kind of fall into the third category. You have what they call internal frame of reference, which, have you heard that term before? It's an internal frame of what's right and wrong. It means that you decide what's right and wrong ethically, you decide what's in fashion, and you decide what's funny. You don't leave it to this jury of approval for the things that you do.
But that, I would say, is a recent thing, because I probably had the pendulum swing from one unhealthy area to another unhealthy area, and what you're saying to me sounds like it's healthy.
I think it's healthy not to live for other people's approval.
Right, to be a people pleaser. But there was a certain part of my life where all I did, everything I ever said or did, was to not make waves and to please people.
I just don't see that here. This is not who you are now.
Right, no, it's not who I am now. But then I also swung the pendulum all the way the other way to the, basically wanting to pick a fight with anybody all the time, no matter what.
That was a pleasant part of your life.
And be antagonistic. Like, somebody would walk by me on the street and I'd be like, hey, are you racist? You just looked at me funny, and the person would go, I'm sorry, ma'am, I haven't even ever met you. You know what I mean? And now I feel like I'm coming to a place where, as an artist and as a person, I think that does reflect the truth of what I have in
I don't know if your handwriting has changed so much over those years, but who you are now, you have a very good sense of yourself, and like I said, you're kind of balanced, and you don't have that sort of, I'm going to kick your butt for looking at me attitude. I mean, would you call it a spiritual enlightenment? What would you call the growth that you've had over the last 15 years?
Sure, things that I've learned in 12-step program like Al-Anon and metaphysical, studying quantum physics and getting a spiritual grounding, that's all helped me. I had a question though, because when I was writing out what you wanted me to write out, I noticed that I'm inconsistent. So some of my Y's would curl under, and then some of my Y's would go straight down. Is there any significance to that?
Yeah, the Y's relate to relationships, trust, and sexuality, and so they're kind of combined. If you have more than one type of Y, it means that you have more than one element. So in your case, you've got the big physical drive, but also the aggressiveness and also the independence. And so if you have a lot of independence, that would mean that in a dating relationship, you would need space, and you would be the opposite of codependent. So if someone crowns you and wants to call you 15 times a day.
I don't even like you doing that, pretending. No, you're right, that doesn't work for me. But where do you see the independence in the handwriting?
The independence would be the Y's like that's just straight down. And there it is, straight down again. It means, and it's actually a very healthy trait. It's the opposite. You don't need somebody, but then you can want somebody. And I think you should live your life through wants and not neediness. And so in this case, you want companionship, great, but then you want them to go home.
Right.
Right.
So explain this to me as far as handwriting analysis goes, because it seems like there would be too many degrees of freedom. I could make my letters non-characteristic of what I usually do and hand it to you, and you would think that I was a totally different person.
You probably could, if that was your intention. I know when we hire employees, we look at the application, and then we also want them to write while we're sitting there. Because people put their very best handwriting, and even if they've never read the books, they sometimes can make it prettier, and then only after we see their real handwriting do we see like they hate men or they're pathological liars. So yeah, I mean, there's a certain element. It's kind of like dressing up, wearing makeup, wearing your best clothes.
Right,
you're on your best behavior.
You had me write this, and I knew that you were going to look at it, so my normal probably writing really fast, and it looks like a serial killer, I was trying to maybe make it legible for you.
You do not look like a serial killer. Maybe one body, Suzanne, but not multiple. It's just not that way.
A singular killer.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you may have hidden. What are you hiding? I mean, what are you trying to say? If I had your real handwriting, what are we going to see?
Well, my real handwriting, because in my life, like, I can type 100 words a minute, so I tend to type whenever possible instead of handwriting because I'm impatient. And so my actual handwriting, because I'm usually thinking and trying to write quickly, is much messier and not quite as legible. But if I'm writing a letter to somebody and I want it to make it legible, this is what it would look like.
Yeah, and that just has to do with perfectionism as well as eye for detail. You do have an immaculate eye for details. Is that part of a success formula, or you notice every little thing?
It's not so conscious as a success formula. I've always been like that. And so you know how they say God is in the details? I have a lot of attention to detail, and I want attention to detail from the people around me too. Like, I don't know, even if it's something like social plans. If somebody says, hey, next Thursday, let's go to this thing, it's at this place, and I'm thinking, okay, but where is it?
What place?
What time is it?
Yeah.
And what is the dress code? And when does it start and when does it end? And how much do tickets cost? And I actually want to know details.
Is it because you have a fear of like in the unknown, or are you
No.
anal retentive?
No,
or
I
you're
actually
anxious?
don't. It's because I usually have so many things going on in any given day that it helps me to know where I need to be at what time, to know how many things I can put in my day before that and after that. It's much more of a practical kind of a thing.
Nice. We're going to take one more quick break. When I come back, I want to ask you some of your secrets to how you become successful, and then something really personal like, how you organize your closet.
Uh-oh. Okay.
We'll be right back in a minute.